Yeah, hey, go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest, nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckeye here with the Man Hour Show at manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Of course, check out the blog section as well. New things popping over there, but most importantly, check out the Discord. If you want to watch some NFL games tomorrow, go over and check out the Discord. We got some action going for you over there. But this is Saturday night. This is not Monday through Friday at 2:30. This is not morning show. This is after hours. And in the after hours, I gotta welcome the man, the myth, the legend. The peanut butter to my ladies. The man that thinks he's on top of the world. The one and only Mr. Beastie Combs. What is up, Combsy? What is going on? Long time no see, brother.
Yeah, man. Look, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I heard the peanut butter to my ladies. But I love all of it, man. I appreciate you. But you're right, though. I am. I'm doing everything that I set out to do. I chased after my dreams. I've achieved them for the most part. I still got a little bit of a hill to climb.
Yeah.
But I'm there, man. Love it.
Yeah, and I couldn't be much more proud of you at all. And our first show back together, there's an OG in the chat right off the bat, Combs. It is my man, Alpha Rob. He says, "What is up? Boys are back in town." Buck and Combs. Yeah, I guess the boys are back in town for like a little while, right? I mean, shit.
Yeah, like, might as well. Might as well talk some football on a Saturday night. Although after Notre Dame lost, I started drinking really heavily, and you know I'm ready for tomorrow. Though I am pumped up to wake up in the morning and it's an NFL Sunday.
Yeah, it's been way too long since it's been an NFL Sunday. But speaking of tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time, I do believe you and Fitz has got a little thing happening. What's going on with you and Fitz on Sunday morning?
Yeah, so we'll actually be live on the south side of Chicago here at McNally's Tavern. We will be there at 11 a.m. from 11 to noon. We're going to be doing a Bears pregame show. And then for anybody who shows support, anybody who shows love, shows up to watch the show and wants to stay to watch the game, Fitz and I are going to stay there with you and hang out, watch the game, shoot the shit, talk sports, talk football, talk whatever you want. We're going to get to watch Caleb Williams' first game in the NFL against real defenses to see how the kid performs. I can't wait, man. I'm really excited for the future of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and honestly, as a supporter of you, I kind of in a turnaround support your team as well. And you guys are looking pretty positive. Speaking of being pretty positive, my man Casey Morgan's in the chat as well. He says good morning, or what's good, he should say. I was thinking good morning for some reason. But Casey, what's up? Casey's a Pigskin Pundit. Guys, if you want to become a Pigskin Pundit, click on the link below. You get free entry into our $2,000 giveaway, Combs. We are giving away $2,000 for the best pick'ems at the end of the season. Did you know that?
Shit. I'm about to become a Pigskin Pundit.
There you go. Just click on that link, and we do what we do. And Alpha Rob says Lamar was good in MVP form. Lamar was in MVP form the other night. Listen, Lamar Jackson played very, very well. He just shit the bed when it mattered the most, and that's what Lamar Jackson does.
No, I don't subscribe to that notion like you do. Look, I know you're a big Lamar is trash guy, but Lamar with having Derrick Henry, I thought it was going to be a good dynamic. I thought it was going to be a fun dynamic because it was going to be interesting to see the way that it went. But they did exactly what I expected them to do, the way that I said that they were going to do it, which was Lamar's going to try to pass a lot more. And Lamar did try to pass a lot more, but Lamar actually looked good when he tried to pass more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I didn't expect to see. Lamar actually looks like once they figure this thing out, once they get a rhythm going with him and Derrick Henry, this Baltimore Ravens team attached to that defense is going to be tough to stop. And they're going to be, look, it was the Kansas City Chiefs, man. And I know you're a Kansas City Chiefs guy. You love your Chiefs, Chief Kingdom over here with my guy, Michael Buckheister. The new Tom Brady is in town. The new guy that I'm not betting against ever, Patrick Mahomes, is in town. So
Right.
we'll give Lamar that. It was opening night. Chiefs were getting the banner. It's the celebration of the Super Bowl victory back to back. Now they're trying to go back to back to back. And I don't know about you. What do you think about Mahomes? Are you on the train of if he wins this year, does he pass Brady for you? Because right now for me, Brady 1 and Mahomes 2. And I think that it'd be in the conversation.
To be honest, like you have to, right? Because nobody has ever gone back to back to back. And like, granted, the quarterback gets most of the glory, but the Kansas City Chiefs team organization as a whole for the last 7 years at least have been by far one of the best organizations out there. They've drafted well. I saw a stat on Thursday night that 63% of the snaps played last season was all by drafted players. So they're drafting well. They're building from the organization like inside out. And obviously Patrick Mahomes is going to get a lot of that credit, but Tom Brady did it for a very, very long time. What was it for about 12 years? It was every other year he was in the Super Bowl or something like that. Like it seemed like he was always like in there. And I believe he has a winning record in the Super Bowl as well or something like that. I mean, Tom Brady is the bar. So
but you get
don't
him
know.
there with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes, 6 years that he's been a starting quarterback in this league, they've been to 5 Super Bowls.
right.
And I mean, how has it been 5 or 4?
So he this is his 8th year in the league, 7 years started, and they've been to 4 Super Bowls and won 3.
4 Super Bowls, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and 3 of them, and the only one he lost was to Tom Brady.
Right. And they should have been in the Super Bowl was it his second year? But old D Ford lined 3 yards off the ball or off sides, and Tom Brady threw an interception to in the game. And Tom Brady, I think they ultimately won the Super Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken, actually. So, I mean,
They did.
they could be, back to back team, but 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. But I don't think you can realistically pass Tom Brady until you're retired, right? Once your career's over, then I think you can kind of put him up there if he goes back to back to back.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to back to back, I mean, nobody's ever done that.
Right.
No, not even Brady. And so I think the conversation starts there. I think already, I think it's unquestionable that he's number 2 all time already, which is crazy for me to think because I don't think I would have ever thought that about a guy who's been in the league for 6 years. But when you've been in the league for 6 years, going on your 7th year as a quarterback now, 8 years in the league, but
Starting.
7th year as a starting quarterback, you put up these numbers. This is the production that you're showing. 6 years as a starter, heading into your 7th, but you've been to 6 AFC title games. Been to AFC title game every year. You've been the starting quarterback.
Right.
You're, to me, this is crazy, but Patrick Mahomes to me is the second best quarterback of all time already, man. So you're witnessing this over there in Kansas City.
So let's put a caveat on it. Does the Super Bowl count as a playoff game, or is the Super Bowl just like a game by itself?
Look, the Super Bowl has a different element to it, right? Like it
Right.
is a game by itself. It is part of the playoffs. It's another playoff game.
So
I mean,
he's lost 3 playoff games in 7 years.
yeah,
Wrap that around your head. That's very, very impressive.
yeah, and he's won what I would say 3, at least a minimum of 3 per year. So that's 18 and 3 in the playoffs in his career.
Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
Damn good.
Yeah.
Pretty
And they've
damn
only
good.
had one road playoff game that whole time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they are doing work. So my man John's in the chat as well. What's up, John? Sorry, Combs.
No, I was going to say that's the key too, is that they don't play playoff games on the road. I mean, I think it might have been a different story last year if Miami didn't drop the ball and lose Week 17 in a game that they needed to win to get a home field advantage. Then they had to go play in Kansas City on a day where it was negative 40-degree wind chills.
Listen, I was at that game, Combs, and I bought a beer. I walked from the concourse down to my seats, which was the only I was pretty high up. I was like four rows deep. My beer froze, and it was like a freaking snow cone. Like it was just it was the worst decision that I've ever had, but it was the most fun that I've ever had too. Because very few people get to experience a playoff game, right? And it was just a great game, a great day, right?
Caliber with that guy playing, you know what I mean? And Tua, those guys over at Miami, man, they're no joke. That offense was really, really good, and I think that if they're in Miami, I think they at least, I'm still not betting against Patrick Mahomes, but I think they still have a puncher's chance in Miami. They have zero shot playing in negative 40-degree temps at Kansas City.
So since the Super Bowl ring says the 7th seed, we'll go ahead and stick with the 7th seed there for the Miami Dolphins, right? Even though I think they were the 6th seed, right? But the biggest downfall for the Miami Dolphins last season wasn't the fact that they had to play the Chiefs on the road. It was they went through like 12 defensive ends in the last 4 weeks. Their defense was just obliterated, and even then they were still competing. And I think if their defense would have been 100% going into that Kansas City Chiefs game, I think they may have even won at Arrowhead. I mean, obviously it's a what if, you're just saying that just to say it, but the Miami Dolphins, they looked really, really good last season, and this season I don't anticipate them being even a step back. Even they step forward. Right?
Imagine you take a full year of Tyreek Hill not trying to make babies on the side.
Right? Did you see that stat of like every 150 yards that he had last season, he made a baby?
I actually threw it out there the other day on BetQL. I said, what would you put your money on if I gave you $500 to place your money on? Which number would be higher at the end? The amount of baby mamas that Tyreek Hill has, or his average amount of touchdowns per year?
Baby mamas. That man likes to get around. That man likes to get around. That's probably why he ultimately left Kansas City, because he had too many baby mamas here that we don't know about yet. He's like, child support starting to get caught up. I need to leave. But my man Casey says he would like an illegal formation call on the Kansas City Chiefs. So obviously on that Thursday night game, I believe the Ravens had like 15 illegal formations. It seemed like every time we turned around, they were in an illegal formation, aka Stanley was too far off the ball. I believe you guys are referring to the right tackle. That's always bad.
Casey's a Chiefs fan.
What's that?
Casey's a Chiefs fan.
Right. But he said would like to call an illegal formation. Like, I assume he was they're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, but I kind of want to spin the comment around and say, this is kind of what I want to talk to you about. Like, honestly, when we first started to jump on here is every time I go into our trash talk groups, whether it's the Discord or the NFL trash talk group or any group in general, it's always Patrick Mahomes is paying off the refs. The Chiefs are in love with the refs. The refs help the Chiefs win, yada, yada, yada. Are you seeing, you as an outsider, you lived in New England, you were around for the Brady days, now you're around for the Patrick Mahomes days. Are you seeing a ref favoritism toward the Kansas City Chiefs as an outsider?
Look, what I see as an outsider and what I see just as an NFL fan and as somebody who's like not so wrapped up in his fandom that he can't be realistic is that the referees at every level right now are atrocious. I mean, they're just bad, and they're bad all across the board. I mean, are you seeing favoritism? Sure, there's probably guys that get calls that other guys don't. There's probably, certain things that get called that other teams don't. Maybe when you're at home, you get more of a leeway than you do if you're on the road. I did see a couple of those same calls for illegal formation on Baltimore for less than what the Kansas City Chiefs were lined up in illegal formation on. They were more legal than the Kansas City Chiefs were, and there was no call all night, and that's why the Ravens were so upset about the calls. I still, honestly, because I was driving home the other night, I still haven't seen the touchdown catch at the end in full motion, so I've only seen the still shots of the toe on the line. So I don't know if his heel touched first and should have been counted as a toe drag. I don't know what any of that stuff is. But here's what I do know. I've said this for a long time. The refs in Vegas tend to line up, right?
Right.
Where was the money at? A lot of the money on Thursday night was on Baltimore.
Yeah. I actually picked the Ravens to win as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of the money on Thursday night was also on the over. Not a lot of people were betting the under.
Yep.
A vast majority, and guess what happens if that's a touchdown catch? Over hits. Guess what happens if you're calling all of these illegal formations and you're taking points away or you're ending drives? Guess what happens? Baltimore might win that game.
Yeah, and to be honest, I go to work at 4 a.m. anyway, so I had like one eye open when that touchdown happened, and honestly, in real time, I thought it was a good catch, but when when you slow it down, super slow mo, you see the half a toe over. But to piggyback on your,
or does the heel come down first? Like if the toe comes down first, then yes. But if the heel hits and then the toe lands, that should be the same thing as a toe drag.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But so let me be devil's advocate here. When you do a toe drag, right, the toe can't go forward. You would snap your ankle. So if the ankle goes back like it's supposed to, the whole foot is in bounds. If the heel touch and then the toe goes down, that counts as a full foot, I think, and I think that would go out of bounds. Now, if you could drag your heel, I guess, the length of your foot, size 27 or whatever the hell he was like wearing, that big ass foot of his.
Feet are ridiculous,
right? I mean, like, yeah,
a size 27.
So like I feel like if he would have dragged his heel, the foot or whatever it took to cover his foot space, then I guess you would call it a catch.
Or if he's wearing white cleats instead of black.
Yeah, Mahomes did point that out. Yeah, I mean, so
if he's wearing white cleats instead of black, you don't see that as good, and that call never gets overturned.
Right. So honestly, I'm a head coach over here at our high school, right? And these kids that wear these colorful gloves, I'm like, no, you want to wear white gloves. Why, coach? Yeah. Because when you hold and you get burned on that receiver, that referee doesn't see you holding. He sees a white on white. It's hard for you to see. They're like, whatever. I'm like, it worked on it. We won a game on Friday night because my safety literally drug the guy down by his jersey wearing his white gloves. No call because the ref couldn't see it. But I mean, it is what it is. But there's some other people in there. Let's welcome in the chat. We got Bronx Bomber in the chat. He says, "Hey, what's up?" Bronx Bomber is. Good Lord, I'm sorry you're a Yankees fan. He is probably a Cowboys fan too, right? But it is what it is. Alpha Rob brings up a pretty good point here as my thing goes down. If Jackson would have hit the open receiver the first time, the last play wouldn't have happened. That is correct. Sure. When it's nut crunch time, Lamar Jackson, I don't know if he tries to outthink himself, but he definitely doesn't look like himself when it's nut crunch time. Do you agree with that?
When he's forced to pass, he doesn't look like himself. When you don't have the time to run, that's when Lamar seems to not be Lamar Jackson. If he's got the option to pass or run and he chooses to pass, that it tends to go a lot better for him. But when he's in a 2-minute drill and he's got to pass, he doesn't have time to run because the clock's going to keep running and you got to try to stop the clock or whatever the case is. He's not. He's a completely different quarterback.
And John once said, Combs said he's the new Tom Brady as in Lamar Jackson. I don't think if anybody's a Lamar Jackson, that's Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, I said that about Mahomes.
Yeah.
Mahomes is the new Tom Brady.
Yeah, John's probably half drunk. It's 9:00 up there in Detroit, anyways. But Combs, it's been a while since I've had you on. It's been a while since we've had a where we've had a call where we had to have Michelle call 911 because your face was getting really, really red. We're getting underneath your skin, and that blood pressure was starting to rise. Now, I don't necessarily want to go there because I think Michelle's sleeping and enjoying her Saturday night here. But I want to bring up a segment called Change My Mind. I have 3 topics here, and I want you to try to convince me that I am wrong. I want you to try to convince me hey, Buck, you're just not thinking very, very clearly. And the first one that I want to bring up, my bad, it is Jordan Love. Many people think that Jordan Love is overpaid. He's the highest paid quarterback or the highest overpaid quarterback in the NFL. And I believe you are a firm believer of this as well. But me personally, I think the highest overpaid quarterback in the NFL is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson got that $240 million guaranteed money, 4 years ago. Since then, he has played a total of 6 games for the Cleveland Browns. So, Combs, I want you to convince me that Deshaun Watson is not the most overpaid quarterback in the NFL.
Well, Deshaun Watson's contract came while he was in the middle of a 2-year suspension?
It's forever, wasn't it? Good Lord.
It was insane the amount of time where he was not playing football. And to give him that contract at the time really didn't make sense to me either. But since then, he's just been struggling with injuries. Now, if he's healthy and he's half of what he was when he was in Houston, he's not the most overpaid quarterback in football. If you want to talk about injuries, I mean, look, we could talk about an injury. I don't think Jordan Love's overpaid now because he's not going to be playing for the next 3 to 4 weeks. I think Jordan Love is overpaid because when you watch Jordan Love make throws like he was making all night on Friday night, where he's on his back foot and he's just throwing the ball up, he did that about 5 or 6 times last night. He is a guy that played 8 solid games last year and 8 really bad games last year. And he got a contract because they were in a position where they had already picked up his 5th-year option, and they had to give him a contract extension in order for him to play for the Green Bay Packers. They had to make a choice. And since they've had him as a successor, since they did go to the playoffs with him as their quarterback, which was questionable at times, and they did go into Dallas and beat the hell out of the Cowboys. But he single-handedly, the last pass against the 49ers was an interception.
Right. The
guy will throw a ton of interceptions. He throws off his back foot. He makes bad decisions constantly. Jordan Love, to me, is definitely the most overpaid quarterback in the league right now, and it's based off of play and not off of injury.
Yeah, so when you think of the overpaidness, right, of the NFL, general rule of thumb in the NFL right now is the next quarterback up for a contract is going to be the highest paid quarterback, right? Trevor Lawrence, highest paid quarterback, right? Or for 3 days or whatever it was. Did he deserve it? Absolutely not. Trevor Lawrence is a below average quarterback. Let's just be honest. What has he done? He's won 1 playoff game versus a LA Chargers team that totally collapsed with 28 point or 38 point, whatever it was. Yeah, it was like a pure Brandon Staley collapse. I suck at life, basically. But then you look at, Joe Burrow, injury prone guy, really hasn't played a full NFL season except for the one time they went to the Super Bowl, overpaid, yada, yada, yada. So long story short is I understand why the Packers paid Jordan Love the money. They could have franchise tagged him. They could have rolled the dice. He could have had an MVP year, and they could be paying him $300 million, $65 million a season if they would have waited 1 year or 2 years if they decided to franchise tag him those 2, if not 3 years. So to say that he's overpaid, potentially, but I don't think so because really the Packers got a really, really good deal because at the time he was the highest paid quarterback. Now he's 6 on the list? I mean,
if you think $50 million for a guy who's going to win you, who might keep you around 9-8, 8-9 every year, Jordan Love's not that guy who's going to get you to that next level. Jordan Love. I'm putting it out there right now. Jordan Love will never win a Super Bowl.
And honestly, I mean, I gotta know the extent of his injury. I think John said he's out 4 to 6 weeks. You said
it's 3 to
weeks.
4.
Right.
It's an MCL sprain. He'll be out for about 3 to 4 weeks.
But to be honest, the Packers are built to win right now. They have a young receiving core that's just improving week after week after week. Jordan Love, yes, he's going to get set back a little bit for these 3 or 4 weeks, but he'll continue to improve. And then you have a defense that's stellar.
Yeah, I don't know if they're built to win now. I mean, look, their defense is pretty good. I do like their defense a lot, but you got a wide receiving core that, like, Christian Watson can't stay healthy. Like, you're waiting for it. You watch his bones disintegrate every time he runs a route. And you know, you're looking at Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs could be a dude, but you're sitting there running out Christian Watson as your wide receiver 1 every week, and nobody's really paying attention to him because nobody's scared of him. And then, not to mention, I mean, if you watched, there was a couple times last night where they had guys wide open, and Jordan Love was just missing the throws, and that was something that I saw out of him last year, and I didn't see that. And it was funny to me was because all of the Green Bay Packer fans were sitting there watching Jordan Love talking about, oh, we got it right again, and I kind of agree with them. I think that they didn't completely go bust with Jordan Love, but a lot of the things that you see out of Jordan Love, you were seeing out of Justin Fields. You were seeing a lot of these overthrows, these miscues, these underthrows, these bad passes, throwing off the back foot, just throwing the ball up instead of just either taking a sack or throwing the ball out of bounds. And they were just, I mean, Justin Fields was just getting shit on. Meanwhile, Jordan Love was getting over here and he's getting $50 million a year.
So are you saying that the Packers are blinded by the one season success of the last 10 games of the season by beating the Dallas Cowboys, by losing the San Francisco 49ers? Like, so they're completely blinded by that. They don't, nothing the last previous 4 years shown that he could be a leader or an outstanding quarterback in the NFL.
No, he seems like he can be a leader. He seems like he can be a guy that can command the locker room and a guy that, you know, his teammates seem to rally around. But they also have a really young team. I think that if you put Jordan Love on a veteran team, if you put Jordan Love on a team that has a really good quarterback, not named Malik Willis, on their roster, Jordan Love might have to compete for his job. Like, if you put Jordan Love in the Steelers situation that Russell Wilson is in now, he's competing with Justin Fields for the starting job. It's not going to be just, oh, yeah, you're going to start. He's going to lose his job quickly if he's in an environment where they have somebody that can replace him.
So let me ask you this question. Earlier, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I put out my top 10 quarterbacks that I think it like how they're going to finish the 2024 NFL season. I had Jordan Love at number 7. If you were to rank the quarterbacks how they're going to finish 2024, not how they are now midseason, how they're going to finish, where do you think Jordan Love would rank in that?
Probably somewhere between 15 to 20.
So you think he's a below average quarterback?
He's a mid-level quarterback. He's not terrible, but he's not going to be a guy that you're like, yeah, this guy can win me a Super Bowl.
So
there's no way you could look at Jordan Love and be like, yeah, this guy, the way he is right now. I mean, just go back and watch some of those throws from last night before he got hurt. Obviously, he got hurt on the last play of the game, or the second to last play of the game.
Right.
You watch some of these throws where they're coming in and he just gets so scared because he's already been hit once or twice, and he just from his back foot just throws the ball up. And it's week 1. Defenses aren't taking advantage of it because I'm telling you right now, if this game is played in week 7 or 8 and he's making those same passes, he probably throws 6 interceptions in that game yesterday.
Ooh, tough. Over here at YouTube, he says you are clearly just being a leader. Being a hater. Last year, he led the league in touchdowns. Almost led the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, I almost, screwed Supermodel one time. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm not being a hater on Jordan Love. I just said he's not terrible. I just don't think he's great. He's not. if my franchise was hooked on him, it's the same way that it was hooked on when it was hooked on God, I'm gonna forget his name, not Justin Fields, but Mitch Trubisky. I looked at him like, you can't pay this guy.
Yeah.
Can't pay this guy because he is doing Jordan Love right now. If he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, we would have had a quarterback competition the same way they had one with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
He probably would have won the quarterback competition.
He might have.
Yeah.
He might have. But I don't think it's as wide open as everybody thinks that it is. And that's why I'm glad he's only out 3 to 4 weeks. I'm glad it wasn't an ACL, and I'm glad he's not because I don't want any excuses come week 11. And they might win. They might beat the Bears. I think that the Bears are a better football team. I think the Bears have a better roster than the Packers finally, and it's something I've never really been able to say. I think that they're better at the quarterback position, but I don't want the Packers fans to have any excuses. And if he plays a game like he played last night versus that Chicago Bears defense, the Chicago Bears defense is going to eat him alive.
Yeah, only time will tell. Luckily, he should be back by the time the Bears and Packers do play here in week 9, I think is the first time that they play. Week 11. So we'll definitely get that in there. Hopefully, we'll get to see some stuff here. But my man Jim Powell says Kenny Pickett is the only hope now. Will Levis, don't worry, or not Will Levis, Malik Willis, whatever, bring over Kenny Pickett, he says.
Is Pickett a free agent?
I think he got signed to the Seahawks practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not 100%.
Yeah, but you can go get a guy from a practice squad. I believe the NFL rules are like you can.
Yeah, you can get.
I don't know if you can sign him to a contract, or maybe you have to give a draft, like a 7th round draft pick compensation or something. There's something to it that if they're on the practice squad, they can take a job elsewhere.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if you pick a guy up from another team's practice squad, you have to sign him to the active roster the following week.
Right.
Like you just can't switch practice squads. So, James Frank is in the chat as well. He says if you got Love at 7, Jared Goff is at 5 or 6, and yeah, I do have Jared Goff as a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, Jared Goff he's a very underrated quarterback, and I'm not a big believer in Jared Goff. Like as far as I think it's more because I'm not a big believer in Dan Campbell ever being able to get a team to a Super Bowl because he tends to lose them more games than he wins them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Jared Goff. I just think that he is an accurate passer. I think that he can put up numbers, and I think that in the right system, he can be a top 5 type quarterback.
Yeah, and I think Jared Goff got the short end of the stick at LA Rams. Honestly, led him to a Super Bowl, and they're like, "I can get out of here." Must have slept with somebody's wife or girlfriend or something, whatever. But Matt Henry's in the chat. He says, "Bear down." Also, Buckeye Nation. Buckeye Nation, yeah. Like our man Zen's getting some playing time, Colmsy. So
has he been
playing? So he is still a backup left tackle, but the tackle that he's been backing up has been dealing with injuries all training camp, and he actually got injured in the second quarter of this game as well. So Zen played the whole second half. So
how'd they do? They went.
Yeah, they walked all over whoever they played.
I was too busy watching.
Yeah.
Game get embarrassed by NIU.
Listen, as
now
I can't
cover my bet for tonight because I when Nebraska was only a 6.5 point favorite over Colorado, I was like, oh, this is the easiest bet of the night. They're up 28-0 right now.
Listen, Nebraska's no joke. When they were in the Big 12, they walked all over Colorado year after year.
Raiola's a dude. Their quarterback.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback, man. You know, he wears number 15, and when he walks around, I swear to God, he looks like another number 15 that we're watching in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Actually, I believe it was Nebraska's media day. He actually trolled every media person out there because he wore the Pit Vipers and had the dad bod happen. It had the Mahomes haircut and everything. It was kind of ridiculous, but whatever. James says Dan Campbell is my spirit animal. Let me talk about Dan Campbell. Combs, I'm kind of with you. I don't think Dan Campbell may never even leave the may never even lead the Detroit Lions back to an NFC championship game. Not because he's not a good coach, not because they don't have a good team. He takes too many damn risks. Like, sometimes you just got to take the points and walk away. Let's flash back to week 5 last season when they played the Dallas Cowboys. They had 4 times at a 2-point conversion or a touchdown or whatever it ultimately was, and he missed them all 4 times. If you just would have took the field goal or the extra point or whatever it was, you probably would have won that game. And
why don't you flash back to the NFC title game where they had a 14-point lead and they were walking all over San Francisco and had a chance to put points on the board twice and go up 17, and then they would have gone up 20. But instead, both times he went for it on 4th down and missed. And even right afterwards, when they interviewed George Kittle afterwards, George Kittle said, as soon as they missed that second field goal, we knew we were coming back to win this game. You let teams back in when you in the NFL, man. You cannot take points off the board. Sure, sometimes it works, and people think that you're a great coach and all that. But when it doesn't work, especially in an NFC title game, and you let a team with Christian McCaffrey on the field, you're not going to take more points. You're not going to go up by 3 scores instead of 2.
Right.
That is why, to me, I love Dan Campbell. I think he would be a great coach. But somebody's got to take the play calling away from him. Somebody's got to say, hey, you don't get to make the decision on whether or not we go for it on 4th down, because it's bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, if you want to flash back to the 49ers game, the 49ers used, a 4th-round pick on a kicker. Obviously, going up beyond a field goal, beyond a touchdown, is taking that kicker out of the game. I mean, besides Christian McCaffrey, that kicker might be the most dangerous, player on that field. I'm not trying to take away from Debo or George Kittle or anything, but the simple fact of the matter, a kicker is very, very valuable. Look at Justin Tucker. Look at Harrison Butker. That's why they get paid. And John says no gluts, no glory. They got screwed in Dallas. No, they didn't get screwed in Dallas. But
how did they get screwed in Dallas?
It was so. If you remember that play, Combs, they had 5 linemen walk over to the ref saying, I'm eligible. No, I'm eligible. No, I'm eligible. And they didn't get the right person eligible, whatever. But
that part has nothing to do with it. But it's the part of going for it in situations where you just shouldn't be going for it. You are up 2 scores in an NFC title game. You got a team on the road, nonetheless. You've got them on the ropes in their backyard, and you've got a chance to put them away for a chance to go to the Super Bowl, to go up 3 scores instead of 2. That is a big difference to a football team, because I'm telling you, the difference between 3 scores and 2 scores, I go down and score real quick, and then I have a pick 6. Guess what? Now we're tied. But if I'm down by 3 scores, I have a quick score, and then I have a pick 6. Damn, man, we're still fucking down.
Yeah,
it's a big difference mentality-wise, being down 2 scores or 3 scores. You've got to take the points in those situations.
Yeah, so James Frank is a Cleveland Browns fan, and like he says, when a coach like Dan Campbell is known for taking risk, it is hard to just step back and say, hey, let's just take the 3. He says Kevin Stefanski drove him nuts his first year in Cleveland when he would take the points and not go for on 4th down or take the touchdown.
How many Super Bowls has Kevin Stefanski won?
How many Super Bowls has Dan Campbell won?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are those. I believe Dan Campbell's a really good coach. I believe that Kevin Stefanski's a really good coach. I don't believe either one of them will ever win the Super Bowl.
No,
because they take too many risks to win the Super Bowl. You're not telling if that is the Kansas City Chiefs that are up 2 scores and they're right there. What are they doing? They're kicking the field goal. They're kicking the field goal. It's not you're not down in the red zone. You're not down below the 5. So if you do miss on 4th down, you're pinning them into the 5-yard line. They were on the 40-yard line, the 35. It's not you're giving them an open field with a guy like Brock Purdy, who, by the way, threw for I believe 27 or 28 or 30 something touchdowns last year and only 5 interceptions. Like the guy can throw. I know. I don't care if he's Mr. Irrelevant or not. Speaking of underrated quarterback, Brock Purdy's probably one of the biggest, and you gave him a reason to go to the Super Bowl when that should have been your shot.
Slow it down, Combs. Slow it down, baby. Brock Purdy is not top 10 quarterback. Top 10 quarterback. But Nathan Wheeler's in the chat. He says, "Hey, what's up, man hour? NFL is here. Let's go." And Nathan, I put a link in everybody's chat. There's a link right there. If you guys want to win a NFL jersey this week, all you got to do is click on the link, pay the $1 entry fee, $1. If you get the most picks, Combs, I'll send you a NFL jersey of your choice. And if you do all 18 weeks and you get the highest picks out of everybody, you get $2,000, all for a total of $15 entry. Say that again.
Do I count?
You can enter. Go ahead. Click that link, Holmesy. Click the link. I will get you a Detroit Lions jersey just for you.
I already got a Caleb Williams. Now I need a Rome Odunze.
Well, speaking of Caleb Williams, your man, the myth, the legend himself, thinks that they're going to walk all over the Tennessee Titans. People think the Bears are going to walk all over the Tennessee Titans and walk themselves in the NFC playoffs this season. Hell, it may not even be a Super Bowl. Might even be NFC North Championship, dethroning the Detroit Lions. But Combs, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to go into Chicago, into Soldier Field, week 1, and rain on everybody's parade. So I want you to change my mind. How can the Chicago Bears beat the Tennessee Titans on Sunday?
Look, the Chicago Bears are in a very special circumstance, right? Like I've heard all week, people are like, oh, they're a rookie quarterback hasn't won their first start in the NFL since like 1980, whatever it was, Dan Marino or something like that. And I'm like, well, how many of those quarterbacks were put in the situation that Caleb Williams was put in? How many of those quarterbacks were given the elite talent around them that Caleb Williams has been given? And with Rome Odunze, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen being your weapons, not to mention you got a guy like DeAndre Swift now in your backfield, along with Roschon Johnson, who, by the way, I think is going to be the number 1 running back in the Bears offense this year, because I think that dude is a dog. I look at this team, and I look at the team like the Tennessee Titans coming in. And look, they've got a good team. I like Will Levis. I like Will Levis. I was high on him when they drafted him. I think Will Levis is going to be a very good quarterback. They don't have enough weapons in Tennessee. Not to mention, not only do they not have enough weapons, they just lost their number 1 running back, and they replaced him with one of the most underperforming running backs last year in Tony Pollard. You got a brand new coaching staff. All the numbers, all the things that people are talking about with the Bears and Caleb Williams and quarterbacks number 1. When was the last time that a team has lost this much, including a whole new coaching staff, has come out and won a game, their first game coming into a new season? That I'd like to see that number 2. Yeah. I think there's too many detractions for the Titans. I don't think that it's going to be an easy win. I do think that the Bears will end up winning by 10. I got them. I think I picked them at 27-17. I do like the Bears to win this game. I think their defense is a top 3 or 4 defense in this league. Their secondary is over elite. People are going to know the name Tyreek Stevenson. And on the other side of Jalen Johnson, to me, Tyreek Stevenson's the better cornerback. I said this last year, watching Tyreek Stevenson play. I said, if they don't pay Jalen Johnson, I'm fine with them not paying Jalen Johnson, because we got Tyreek Stevenson, and I like him as a shutdown corner. But they paid Jalen Johnson, and they have Tyreek Stevenson. So I really like this team. I think Byard is an upgrade over at free safety for the Bears, and I just think that this team is ready to go. And I like the swagger that I saw during Hard Knocks. I like the swagger that I saw in the preseason. Look, Caleb Williams, people are like, oh, he looks. Here's how half the fan base was. The fan base that loved Justin Fields was all like, oh, he looks like trash. Look at all the incompletions that he's thrown. But they don't want to mention the 5 or 6 drops that there were during that game. But then the people that love Caleb Williams are like, oh, he looks great. Did you see that one throw? But they don't mention the 3 or 4 overthrows or underthrows that he had. Right. Caleb Williams looked like a rookie in the preseason of his rookie year. that showed flashes of his potential, but also showed signs of being a rookie in the NFL. I think that there are going to be some growing pains with Caleb Williams. I still have my concerns about him holding onto the ball too long, but he has alleviated a lot of my concerns about his mentality of the game just by listening to the kid talk. And he has alleviated like anything other than holding onto the ball too long. I no longer have any concerns about Caleb Williams. I think that the Bears are going to be just fine. I think they're going to be better than people think. A lot of people have them at 6-7. I think the Vegas had them at 8.5 was their over/under. I think they beat that. I think they're a 10-win football team, and I think they can contend for a wild card spot.
So when I look at the Chicago Bears, much like you, I actually watched the preseason games. I just didn't watch the highlights. I just didn't listen to what the analysts were saying. I believe it was the third preseason game when they played the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe it was, and that first 2 drives of Caleb Williams, I'm like, what is all this hype about? Because he was missing throws left, he was missing throws high, low. He just looked like a rookie quarterback, just like you said. But as soon as I was getting ready to post that on Facebook, the third drive came and he looked like a MVP caliber quarterback, making all these damn throws. I believe he let him down the field in like 4 plays or 5 plays, something ridiculous.
That off-script throw that crossed his body off of his back foot while he was in the air too, nonetheless. Yep. That throw, and that was 40 yards downfield, right. But he was in the air when he threw the ball. Like that, yeah. And he makes it look easy when he does those things. That's what I'm really excited about. And I don't compare him to him because it's really hard to be compared to one of the greatest of all time. But he does a lot of the easy things that shouldn't be easy that Patrick Mahomes does. Yeah. I don't think he's as good as Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he is Patrick Mahomes. But he just has that ease about him that I can do this. I can flip it behind my back. I can no-look pass. I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff from Caleb Williams. Yeah, and I think that's ultimately his downfall and the Chicago Bears this season is that he does all the great things so easily, but the basic things he seems to not concentrate on them, and he miscues on those basic things like the simple out routes. He throws it 5 yards out of bounds. A simple slant route wide open, throws it at his knees. Right, it's just those easy throws he seems to have problems with. Now the throw, like you just imagined, it was a dime. I believe it was to I think it was DJ Moore. Right, he put it right on him, and it was a great play. But those previous 2 drives, I'm like, what is going on? But we'll see. That's the part of him that looked like a rookie. You know what I mean? Like those are the the growing pains. But I don't know did you catch any of Hard Knocks? I watched the first 2 episodes. I need to get caught up, and that's planned. So when you watch the Hard Knocks, it's like you're watching him, and the things that I liked about him was that when there was an issue, like if he wasn't hitting a route or if a guy ran the wrong route, instead of him like complaining, like he goes to Shane Waldron. He's like, "Hey, what did I see there? What was the issue on that one? What did I do wrong?" And he's asking the questions as opposed to just getting frustrated, as opposed like he wants to learn, he wants to be better. And I think he has that mentality of same way that again, Patrick Mahomes has, the same way Tom Brady had it, the same way that even Peyton Manning had it. When they struggle, they are going to find a way to not make the same mistake twice. And that's where I think that eventually he will be successful. And you might be right, but I think that they're going to be a 10-win football team this year just because of their schedule too. Their schedule for the first 10 weeks. I mean, minus Houston in week 2. I mean, they could easily. I think they'll probably lose a game or 2 in there, but they could easily be 9-1 heading into that first meeting with Green Bay. I mean, it's very conceivable. Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And Ken, I think that's one of their biggest upsides is they do have a very favorable schedule. I believe they had the 7th hardest or the 7th easiest schedule in the NFL this season based off of last season. But when you talked about how good the Bears are, I've seen people say the Bears have an elite defense, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But on the same time, guys, the Titans, they were a 6-win team last season. I get it. But they had 4 or 5 one-score games last season. If the ball bounces one way or the other late in the fourth quarter,
They are a 10, 11, if not a 12-win team going to the playoffs last season. Yes, they did move on from Derrick Henry. He was getting a little long in the tooth, and he was incorporating into that old play style that what's the Titans' old head coach name now? Mike Vrabel, right? Like, it was that whole hardcore run it down your throat mentality. Once Mike Vrabel left, I felt like Derrick Henry had to leave because they wanted a new identity. I mean, you still have D-Hop. You still have Burks, right? And then you pick up Calvin Ridley. Then you pick up Tyler Boyd. Yes, Tony Pollard had a down year last year, but he didn't have the yin to his yang. He didn't have the Buck to the Combs. He didn't have the Zeke to the Tony Pollard. Now he does have that with Tajay Spears, right? And and that defense sneakily is very, very good. They're very, very thin. So if a secondary happens to go down, if a linebacker happens to go down, their backups aren't as good as a lot of other backups in the league, like the Chicago Bears, like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But their defense starters are still pretty damn good. And this is week 1. So a 10-point game in week 1 is tough, Combs. Like I truly think that the Titans can go into Chicago, new look offense, new look defense. Will Levis finally gets the reins of full offseason of being the guy. Like, I think the Bears are kind of in for a rude awakening come week 1.
I like it could be, and look, anything can happen week 1, right? Because week 1 is one of the where there's a lot of, especially with a rookie quarterback, especially with Rome Odunze, a rookie wide receiver. There's something different about this team, about this franchise. We're just here in Chicago, man. When you're watching this, it's just something that we've never seen before, and it's exciting to watch. I think it would be. It's hard for me to see a scenario where the Bears lose. If this game was in Tennessee, I might be with you, but the fact that this game is here in Chicago, I think it's just. I don't see any way that Tennessee wins this football.
And see, I think that's why they lose the game is because the game is at Chicago. I mean, you are in the city. I'm sure you feel the buzz. You feel the excitement around the city. Caleb Williams' first game as a pro. We're good. We're a top 10 defense the last month of the season. Like we got Keenan Allen. We got DJ Moore. Like we got Rome. We are going to be good. We're supposed to be good. So if the first quarter sucks, Bear fans might get a little restless, might be like, maybe Caleb isn't the guy, because they really haven't truly watched the preseason games, because they don't really truly understand he is a rookie. Those first 2 drives might be shit. Third drive might be awesome, but those first 2 drives, like, Caleb Williams sucks, he's a bust, yada, yada, yada. And that might get underneath the Bears team in general, hearing the fans get restless.
Yeah, I mean, look, if all that happens, then, kudos to you for calling it and seeing it coming down that way. It is very hard pressed for me to see a situation like that actually happening. I think this team is very well coached. I think that this team is poised to be better. You talked about, the Titans, if a couple things bounce a different way, they could be a 10 to 12 win team last year. The Bears, they won 7 games last year, and if they don't blow 3 games in historic fashion in the fourth quarter on defense with leads that in no other scenario had any team in the history of the NFL lost, they're a 10-win team.
Right.
And so the Bears are a very good football team. They've improved at quarterback. They've improved immensely at wide receiver. That's the other big thing. They've got guys now that will get open for you. Yeah, you did have DJ Moore last year, but he didn't have a Keenan Allen with him. He didn't have a Rome Odunze with him. He didn't have a DeAndre Swift in the backfield. So it's a much different looking football team as well.
Yeah, and hopefully Keenan Allen can finally find the health to train and be healthy for all 17-game season. And also, just to add to your point there, if the Bears would have not played the Packers week 1, not played the Bucks week 2, the Chiefs week 3, the Broncos week 3, the Vikings week 6 last season, they could have definitely been, kind of got off on a better foot, because obviously confidence is a big factor in a lot of the NFL, right? Teams get hot, whatever they do their thing. Just a couple comments here. Matt Henry says Nebraska's up 28-0 at the half over Colorado. Do you think Coach Prime gets fired?
I don't know if he gets fired. You want to know what my hot take is? What's going to happen this year? I think that the Dallas Cowboys take a step back. I think that they walk away from Dak. They let Dak go wherever he wants to go. And they draft Shedeur Sanders. And Deion Sanders is the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. Let me wrap my head around that.
Wow. I was telling you, I know a lot of people think that Bill Belichick's going there. I don't see a guy like Jerry Jones giving power that way to Bill Belichick.
Even though they're friends?
But the last time he did that was with Jimmy Johnson back in the 90s.
Right.
And he even said, Jerry Jones just said when asked about it, hey, what are your thoughts about hiring a GM? He said, nobody can do it better than I can. And Bill Belichick is not taking a head coaching position where he's not a GM.
Well, didn't he get fired from GM his second to last year at New England?
They did bring in a GM, and the writing was on the wall that he was leaving too.
I'm not for sure if Coach Prime or Coach Sanders or whatever, like, would you call him Coach Prime in the NFL? Even like his alter ego. I mean, obviously he would be like a Greek god in the NFL. I think, like, look at this prime time. You know, he's a coach. He's doing this, whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't think it's a good move. I'm not saying that it's a good move. I just think it's a move that Jerry Jones will make.
There's a reason why.
Loves Deion Sanders. I think he would absolutely draft one of his kids in Shedeur, and I think he would bring in Deion Sanders because he thinks, hey, what better way to sell tickets than to have Deion Sanders coaching our team?
So obviously he would probably be a first round draft pick because I don't think Sanders goes 2, 3, or fourth round. And when you draft a quarterback that is a ultimate bust, which I'm not saying Sanders will be an ultimate bust. I haven't watched very much film on him besides when the time he's played, like USC and that kind of thing.
Good enough to still win 8 to 9 games. They'll be in like the Denver Broncos type pick. They'll be between 12 and 15, and that's where they'll select Shedeur Sanders.
Well, but I'm saying, like, once they draft him, and if he's ultimately is a bust, that sets your franchise back 5, 6, 7 years. Do you really think Jerry Jones is willing to be all in?
I think that he thinks that way. Yes, I think Jerry Jones thinks he's the smartest man in the room all the time. And I think that is the scenario that actually ends up happening. I really do. It's been on record. I mean, he does love Shedeur Sanders. He talks about him all the time. And that's the scenario that I'm telling. I can really see that happening this offseason.
And I believe Coach Prime said that he would only go to like 3 teams, and one of them was like the Cowboys, and I don't know who the other team was, but like he said, if he was drafted by any other team besides like these 3 or 4, that he wouldn't go or something like that. So, I mean, definitely could see it. Casey says no team is going to give that power to Bill anymore.
I agree.
Probably not.
I don't think Bill ever coaches again in the league.
Yeah, I think he's having too much fun doing his radio tour, and like Alpha Rob says, he's having too much fun with his 25-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
All right, Combsy, it's been an hour. It's been good times. Obviously, you got a long day tomorrow. You got a pregame show to do. You got to do a lot of this, to do a lot of that. Do you want to pick some games though?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the first game we have up is your Chicago Bears take on the Tennessee Titans. Guys, in the comments below, play along. Who do you got? Combs, who do you got?
Hit that heart, baby.
Hit that heart. Combs, I'm thinking the Titans. I like the Titans in this game. I don't know why. I just do. Next game up, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the New York Football Giants.
I'm going to take the Vikings. I think the Giants. Daniel Dimes has a lot to prove, especially after the way that they were talking about getting rid of him during Hard Knocks this offseason. But I think that the Vikings are a better team, even though Sam Darnold is their quarterback. I think the Vikings are going to win.
Yeah, and I'm not sold anything on the Vikings thing. Like, obviously, last season they were battling for the playoffs, even though they had, like, their seventh string quarterback in, like, at that particular time. I'm taking the upset. I like the Giants in this one at home. I think Danny Dimes plays with a chip on his shoulder all season long, and he might be a front runner of the MVP come end of this season.
I don't know about MVP, but I'm higher on him than a lot of people are because I think he does have a chip.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So the next game I have up here is the Commanders. Jaden Daniels taking on Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers.
I'm going to take the Commanders in this one. I think that Jaden Daniels is the real deal. I think the Commanders are headed in the right direction. I don't know who he's throwing the ball to just yet, other than Terry McLaurin. But I think the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, and the Commanders just cut my man Byron Pringle from the Kansas State University for some reason, but whatever. But to answer Alpha Rob's question, the Vikings quarterback is Sam Darnold right now. They signed him from the the 49ers this offseason. JJ was obviously hurt, going to be out for the rest of the season. And they said they're going to stick with Sam Darnold. But I'm picking Baker. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a lot this season. I have them actually winning 13, 14 games this season.
Wow.
I'm high on the Bucs this season. Very, very high on the Bucs. Next up, we got the Rams take on the Lions. This is a primetime game. I'm pretty excited to watch this game, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions. I know we talked about all that stuff with Dan Campbell. I just think the Lions have a better roster. I think that, the Rams losing the defensive end. Damn it, that was his name.
The what?
Their defensive end, the Rams.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. There you go. I kept wanting to say Sam Darnold. Aaron Donald. Losing Aaron Donald, I think, really hurts that defense. I think that their weapons are a little bit lacking. I think Tyron Williams, even though he had a really good season last year, I just don't know what this team does. I think the defense of the Lions is good. The Lions.
Yeah, even though the Rams made the playoffs last season, I think many people are still sleeping on the Rams for some reason. I think they're going to have they're going to battle the 49ers for the West, I think, this season. But Detroit Lions at home, fresh off that NFC Championship game, the crowd's going to be wild, but it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one, but I'm taking the Lions as well in this one. We got the battle of the last game from last season. The Houston Texans take on the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson making his debut back again.
Game of the week right here, in my opinion. I think Anthony Richardson's going to come and he's going to try to shell out. He's going to coming back off the injury. He wants to show that he is that quarterback that everybody thinks that he is. I think he's going to be great this season. I own a lot of stock on him in fantasy as well. Anthony Richardson. That being said, I think the Texans find a way to edge this one out. That defense of the Texans is so damn good. It's going to be hard for me to get guessing. I think TJ Stroud's will. I don't know. So I'm going to take the Texans in the Colts.
Yeah, Alpha Rob is taking the Colts because he cannot stand Stephon Diggs. Screwed his Buffalo Bills, but I think the Houston Texans are going to take a couple of steps back this season. I do think the team got better. The team aspect got better. But there's such thing as a sophomore slump as I think CJ Stroud goes through it. I do like the Colts in this game. I'll also be at that game. Go Colts, baby. Go Colts. Next up, we got Gardner Minshew, which, Combs, I saw something in the chat where people want you to grow a Gardner Minshew mustache. But you got the Raiders taking on the Chargers. Who do you got?
Yeah, give me the Chargers in this one. I don't like the Raiders quarterback room at all. I think that the Raiders are in for a long season. I think Devontae Adams is demanding a trade before the trade deadline. I think it's going to be a long season for the Raiders. Give me the Chargers in this one.
So I want the Las Vegas Raiders fans to hear this closely. Jim, John, whoever else is a Raiders fan out there, the Raiders suck. I don't care who your quarterback is. The Raiders suck. Give me the Chargers, baby. Give me the Chargers. Got this game's very intriguing to me, Combs. You have former head coach, now offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Steelers taking on the Falcons.
Yeah, Justin Fields going to start this game. It looks like he's most likely going to start this game. Russell Wilson most likely will not play with that calf strain. And Kirk Cousins, I think the Falcons have the offensive player of the year in John Robinson on their roster. I think there's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to take the Falcons to edge out.
Yeah, and people are really high on the Falcons. I don't think they're more than a 9-win team, honestly, but people are loving them some Atlanta Falcons. They think Kirk Cousins come up and blow them.
Right?
What's that?
I said 9 wins would destroy the NFC South.
Except for the Bucks are in it. We're in 13. But I'm not sold that Kirk Cousins is back being 100% yet. I'm not sold that Kirk Cousins is there yet. I'm not sold that Kirk Cousins is the quarterback all season long. We might see Michael Penix Jr. come week 5, week 6. I like the Steelers, and the Steelers defense wins this game personally. Then you got the Cardinals take on the Buffalo Bills.
I think the Bills take a step back this year, and I think it starts week 1. I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be better than people think. I think Kyler Murray is going to have a bounce-back year as well. Give me the Arizona Cardinals to beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah, like you, I do think the Cardinals are going to sneak up on some people, win a few games, but I'm anxious to see that wide receiver core of the Buffalo Bills. I'm anxious to see the young, see how they can develop. It's going to be a rough week learning everything, but I think the Buffalo Bills at home, Josh Allen, give me the Bills, give me the Bills, give me the Bills. Got the Denver Broncos take on the Seattle Seahawks. You got?
I've got the Denver Broncos for this one. I think they'll be chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, and I really like Nick a lot. I like
Yeah, I'm not for sure Bo Nix is going to win the NFL Rookie of the Year. I think that's going to go to Jaden Daniels. But I do like the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks wins this game. And the Broncos quarterback, Alpha Rob, is Bo Nix. He was named starter, about a month ago now? 3 weeks ago? He was named a little while ago.
And got to check it out. Plus 1,800 within the year when he got drafted. And then I'm a big believer in that.
Oh, so you're just playing the bets. Got it. Dallas Cowboys at Cleveland. Tom Brady's first game as an announcer. Deshaun Watson should play. CeeDee Lamb's playing. Should be full strength for everybody. Who do you got?
Of course I take the bets. I work at a radio station called BetQL.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm taking the Cleveland Browns in this one. I think that they beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns defense is a god-tier defense. They might be the best defense in all of the NFL. Dak Prescott shuts down his leg at least 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, and as much as I want to pick the Cowboys, I'm with you. The Cleveland Browns at home, week 1, especially fresh off that a playoff berth from last season, kind of shock to everybody, right? The buzz in Cleveland is a real deal, and I do like the Browns and then this one. Then we got the Monday night matchup, the New York Football Jets, Aaron Rodgers debut yet again, taking on the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, look, I think that this is going to be a fun matchup to watch. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers lasts longer than 4 plays this season. It's really funny because the guy who caused the tear his Achilles, who was on the play, now plays for the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm gonna actually take the Jets. I'm high on the Jets this year. I think they win the AFC East. So I'm gonna take the Jets in the close.
Yeah, and I'm not high on the Jets, and until they prove me otherwise, they're a 7-win team for the last 3 years, and I think they finished 7-10 this season. As much, I think the 49ers actually ultimately do take a step back this year, Combs, as well. But I also do think the Jets do take a step up. But I am taking the San Francisco 49ers at home on Monday Night Football. But guys, that's going to be it. A little after hours preview. The boys are back in town a little bit. Combs, thank you for bringing this up, and it's like old times. It's like we never skip a beat. Definitely missed that face of yours. But tell the people where they can find you tomorrow before we head out.
Yeah, just check out Combs and Fitz, Windy City Sports Talk on Facebook. We'll also be on our YouTube page, also our Twitch channel. You can check us out. We'll be live at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's noon Eastern, and 9 a.m. If you're out on the West Coast. So check us out. We will be live from McNally's. We have a whole setup. We're going to have a whole thing. We're bringing back the Wheel of Death. And this year, instead of spinning a wheel for the punishments, we're letting one listener per week pick the punishment on the Wheel of Death.
Oh, I like that. I got a Carolina Reaper that I could throw in there. So
That's what Michelle said. Michelle said something spicy. I want to see you cry, and I'm like, thanks. I appreciate it. I love when my wife.
Listen, once our football season's over, Combs, mid-October, I'll be up there to definitely check you guys out, Blackout Live. I definitely want to hang out. But thank you, as always, Combs, for joining us, guys. I'll see you Monday, 2:30 East Coast time, right here on Man Hour. Of course, manhourradio.com. I'll be live on location in Florida and taking the boys to Disney World. They don't know yet, Combsy, but they go into Disney World. So,
Attaboy.
but until then, what's that?
You win a Super Bowl?
Win
I thought you can only go to Disney World if you win a Super Bowl.
I think I've won back-to-back Super Bowls. But
Oh. Fair enough.
all right, man. We'll see you later.
Later, man.
Later, guys.